Hey there! Is there anybody out there? I think there might be. Very cool. I think we're live. So I hope you guys had a good holiday session or season, whatever. You had a good holiday, and I did. As always, I'm always trying to do 100% one thing. So when I'm not working, I really want to be with the family, and that's what I've been doing. But now back to work. That also means I can squeeze in some of these live sessions. Let's see, are we even as live as I think we are? I have no idea. There used to be a way to tell here. Just too slow for this stuff. Oh yeah, I think we're cool. So in case you guys didn't know, I'm streaming both on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, yeah, and Twitch. Nobody's on Twitch, or I don't have any followers. I still do it because I can. It's useless, I know, shouldn't. But I'm here and I want to be jam and practice with you guys, and hopefully that will lead us into some cool topics. Usually it's the spontaneous stuff that's best, I think. That's why I like these live streams. Because if I try to prepare a topic, it's just never as interesting as if I get some suggestions or some questions, whatever. So that's what we're gonna do. Come on, let's do it. What's the key? I always forget. It doesn't even freaking say. I'm gonna have to use my ears. I hate that. Oh, there we go. D minor. Okay, now I need to figure out the comments. Hide chat view. I think comments are working, but if you're out there, could you just type something? Hello or something? Yeah, I can see a comment from Tenrika on Instagram. That's awesome. Hopefully you guys can see and hear me. Tenrika24, how you doing? But I can't see any other comments, so if somebody on YouTube or Facebook wants to comment, that would help me out immensely. Yeah, I'm not seeing any comments. Whatever. Andre on Instagram, that's awesome. How you doing, man? That's a good question. C-Sam on Instagram is asking, how do you bend properly? I always have trouble holding up two strings. That's a good topic. Very cool topic. So let me just see here. Just want to see that I'm not missing any comments, because I think since I have many more viewers on YouTube right now, it's a little bit weird. I don't see your comments. I just hate when I miss people's comments. I feel such an idiot. So I'm just going to check on YouTube. I don't see your comments. I just hate when I miss people's comments. I feel such an idiot. Helix, hi. Helix. So I see a comment from Helix, but I don't see you on the app. Okay. Helix, hi. There we go. So, why is it so freaking hard? So let's see here. Hide chat view. Show chat view. Oh, there. Awesome. Helix. Paul, I can see you. Good morning, Jam. Watching from the Philippines. That's awesome, man. So, we're on board. And we had a question about bending. Still remember me from TikTok. Andrew, what's up? Not sure. Maybe I do. Actually, I don't. Sorry. How do you bend properly? Yeah. So, bending. Very cool topic there. We should speak about that. So, what would this solo be without bending, you know? So bending, it's important. So the number one thing I see among students is the desire to bend with one finger. And I get it, because it's easier to start bending with one finger because you don't have to coordinate more than one finger. But that's a bit short-sighted because you're going to benefit immensely from the power of using several fingers. But since there are some opportunities or some occasions where you really only need one finger, now because of that reason, I find that some students are like, yeah, you tell me to bend with several fingers, but you know, it works with one. Check this solo where someone does, you know, like, it sounds awesome with one finger, so you're wrong, you know, or this one. Yeah, you know, it works with one finger. Sure, it does. But how are you going to do it on the top string? Doesn't work, right? So you're going to have to bend upwards. And bending upwards with one finger is much harder than doing it with several fingers. So I guess that's the first thing I want to speak about. Just going back to Season of Space's question from Instagram. You're going to bend. You're definitely going to benefit from several fingers. So that's the one thing. Don't ever think about doing this. Do this. Now the second thing is your thumb's position. You want to use a leverage point here. You don't want to have a classical posture when bending. I have some videos out there where I show the difference between, you know, this, like a bluesier posture and a more classical posture. And both are good, but they serve different purposes. So you should move between them. But that's also a concept that's, I think, a bit hard to grasp for some people, that, yeah, there's not just one good way of holding the guitar. You know, you can do it like this for bending. But then when you shred, you can move your thumb down and you do, you know? So two different ways, or two examples of ways you can use your posture to your advantage, depending on what you're playing. Now, personally, I hate this way of doing it, even though I just did it. And the reason I hate it is because this is super unnatural. So I only do it when I need the stretch. When I don't need the stretch, I always move back to a comfortable position. I mean, just hold your hand like this. How comfortable is this? I mean, try doing that for more than 2 minutes and you're gonna die almost. But do this, you know? This is the natural way. So this is how you're gonna hold the guitar, right? Like that. You don't want to be doing this. Watch. Okay, cool. So great question there. I hope that gives you some insights on bending. Thank you, Bigger. I've tried to give as much knowledge as I can. The glitch picking thing you do is cool. I like to do that in a way that makes it sound like a whammy bar dip. Cool. Watching from work, Stan. Sorry, I forgot about that. We'll hopefully be part of the next one. Awesome. So we're getting mixed comments from both YouTube and Facebook here. That's awesome. And a bit of Instagram. Whenever I look in this direction, it's the Instagram screen. Okay, so here's your glitch picking, right? wah-wah and see if that changes anything. Oh, this is a hard position for me to wah-wah in. No, I've never used a Dava control pick. That sounds like fun. Browsenberg is saying, I just joined and the first thing I heard is, you're gonna die. Well, we're all gonna die, so I wasn't lying, was I? Just not right now, not here. Okay, so let's do some more glitch picking. Can you guys hear me? Are levels okay? Should I raise the backing or raise the guitar? Okay, it has selected thickness based on where you hold it. That's pretty cool. You hold a note with your middle finger, then slide into the same note with your point finger. Sounds like a whammy bar did. Hold a note with your middle finger and then slide in. Yeah. So like this. Okay, cool. So, Brownsenberg from Instagram is asking, how many hours a day could get me this smooth? Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I can play, but I want to be effortless. Your hands remind me of Guthrie in that flow-like sense. Thank you so much, man. So, it's always hard to, give you any exact numbers, but I will tell you the stuff that affects the amount of progress you're doing. And that is, of course, your practice plan, how well it is adapted to whatever you're trying to do and to whoever you are and what your current, level of experience is. We're all different and we all have different personal preferences. So I think that's the first thing to understand is if you truly want to learn, like virtuoso playing, it's a tricky thing like anything, you want to get good at something. It's going to be hard. It doesn't matter if it's like killer Dave Gilmour phrasing or if it's shredding like Yngwie. But the first thing is you're going to have to want it a lot. And then you can start designing your kind of plan how to get there. And I would say that if you have a good plan, you can get very far with like anything from 1 to 3 hours per day. That's a good thing to do. I mean, I had times in my practice career where I did 8 or 10 hours, and I would say I probably could have done that in 4 hours with effective practicing. Plus, I ended up injuring myself, which is what bad posture and long hours of practicing does to you. So yeah, anything to 1 to 3 hours and a good practice plan, and depending on where you want to go and where you're at, all that stuff factors in. But there's a saying somewhere that 10 years of working or practicing on something is like the minimum to get really good at it. I would definitely agree with that. I think that's a minimum. I've been practicing for like 30 years maybe or something like that. So yeah, you need some time to adapt to the new reality you're trying to be in. Hey there, Mike. Jorge Segura. So that's something I'm trying to learn or get better at, using my tapping when jamming. Cool, so we've got good questions here. Brownsenberg, glad you like the answer. So what's up with the arm sleeve? It's just, I could have a sweater instead, but you know, it gets warm as soon as I start shredding here and the tubes start glowing, and you know, so I just want to keep my left hand warm while I still can wear some light clothing. That's what it's all about. And keeping the arm warm makes a lot of sense. It doesn't matter if you're trying to play guitar or do something else that's physical, you know, keeping your limbs and whatever is supposed to do the end job, keeping that part of your body warm makes sense. And don't you get thinking about naughty stuff now. Just kidding. Okay, so we had, at some point, calluses on the left fingers will stop to hurt. Yes, that usually takes a maximum of like a few weeks with regular practicing, and your calluses are going to be gone for sure. Sometimes you're going to have to rebuild them if you stop practicing, but yeah. Switch it to right in the evening. That guitar is beautiful. Thank you, Brownson, on Instagram. What's your action like on that guitar compared to your Telecaster? I would say it's about the same. Both guitars have been pliked. It's a pretty good action. I would say it looks a bit bigger than it is because it's scalloped, or a bit higher than it is. I would say maybe 1.3 or something like that, 1.2 on the top E string here over the 12th fret. It's a decent action. Nothing extreme, but it's okay. Okay, so maybe find another backing track. So I'm just going off, I have a playlist on my YouTube channel that's called Chris Backing Tracks. That's what I'm using. Here's a experimental one I did in 7/4. It's in C minor. Fat Man, the original. Right now I'm using Chicken Picks Bermuda. I wonder if that's where I played mine as well, Sweden Guitar Works. I played mine at a place that they've stopped operating now. It was like 10 years ago. Beautiful, this is for you, some blues. At least some blues-inspired metal. Let's do some wide stretch pentatonics here. So if you look at my right hand, you can see I'm using a lot of hybrid picking here. I could maybe try to get a similar sound with tapping, you know? But generally I prefer with legato. The only problem is that kind of stretchy legato. You have to be a little bit careful with it. It's not something, at least not when you're on the wrong side of 40, practice that for 1 or 2 hours and yeah, your arm is gonna fall off. I'm not joking, you can get a chronic injury. It won't fall off, but close to. So that's why I'm trying to find alternative ways of doing this stuff, because I don't know how long I'll be able to do it, basically. No, I've never tried a Helix. I used the Line 6 Pod for a long time, Pod 2.0, and but I got a little bit fed up with it because they never updated their algorithms. Like, they released product after product which was based on the same stuff, and I just had enough. So by the time the Helix came out, I think I already had the Kemper and I had moved on. Yeah. But I'm ready to give it a new shot. I've heard a lot of good things about the Helix. I've seen some videos, and yeah, so for sure. But I've never tried it. And I don't like digital anymore. If I can play analog, that's what I'm gonna use. Let's see here. I'm going to have to go now. Thank you, Brownsenberg, for the cool questions. Keep ripping, man. You're damn good. Thank you so much, man. Ooh, Rokura, guitar god. You're too kind, man. So let's see here. Should we do... This is a fast one. This is a backing track I wrote in 150 BPM. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna shred over this one. And then I recorded it, and when I was done, it's like, now I'm gonna shred. It's like, ooh, this is too fast. So we'll see. I'll turn it on now. I think it's gonna be too fast. It's an E flat minor. I don't know, maybe it doesn't sound so fast, but 150 is fast. Thanks for the interest in booking a lesson. I don't have any open spots at this time. I do enjoy giving lessons a lot, but I found that with all the preparations and that kind of thing, just one lesson is easily going to take me 1.5 or even 2 hours. And during that time, I can do so much else, and I need to bring in some bucks to my family, basically. So that's what it is. I guess I could just raise the prices, but I don't like that. So not currently. I don't have any open. I hope at some point maybe, or maybe some group, like a group teaching thing would be really cool. But I haven't, decided on it yet. Legend, love from Nepal. Give me a challenge. You can always try it. Name of my guitar. So this is a Fender American Deluxe 50th anniversary. Salam from Indonesia. What's up? I'm on my 2nd week. Do you have any tips? That's a good one. Okay, so first of all, realize that as long as you're not giving up, you're doing good, because most people give up after a few weeks. Now, once you realize that, I would say the most important thing is play stuff that or try to play stuff that you love listening to. The biggest mistake I see people do when they're just starting out is listening to some teacher somewhere saying, you should practice this. You shouldn't practice that. You should only practice stuff that you love listening to. Otherwise, you're guaranteed to give up, because it's gonna feel like an insurmountable mountain in the beginning. So if you don't really choose stuff that you're ready to work hard on, you're screwed. So find a song that you think is not that difficult and just try to learn 1 chord of it, That's enough. If you can learn a 2nd chord, trust me, you're gonna be high for weeks and like, yeah, I can do this. So yeah, go for it. Yusuf, what's up? Okay, so let's play some more of this extremely fast backing track from my YouTube channel. Oh, my back. My back hurts just by freaking listening to this one. So what was it? E flat minor. Yeah, why not? A little bit too much, but I wanted to try such a backing track. I like it when there's a little bit slower, a little bit more groove. So I get some questions about songs here. I'm really crap at playing other people's songs. I haven't done that for like 20 years or something. So can't play the solo of Master of Puppets. And I'm not so sad about it. I prefer jamming than playing the solo of Master of Puppets. But it is a good idea when you're starting out. Just goes to what I was saying earlier. Just practice the stuff you love. So if you really want to learn that solo and you're in the beginning of your learning journey, that's awesome. You know, you can set up a routine to practice the kind of technique used in that solo. And so, you know, you practice solo and in parallel you practice exercises that are related to the solo and that kind of thing. Super useful. But you know, I haven't done that for easy 10 years. Yeah, we got my man John Ortiz here. John is actually not only a killer guitarist, but I've had the pleasure and privilege to try to teach him in a session. That was fun. I remember that in a live kind of Skype thing. So please tell us about ear training. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of traditional ear training. I've done a little bit of that. It's okay. I just think that you can do so much better just by transcribing songs. That's the best ear training there is. And also by jamming, you know. I think a lot of jamming goes down to creating melody. Fat Man the Original, thank you so much, man. So I'm going to show you right now how I practice, or I think you can practice ear training by playing over a backing track. So let's say I wasn't happy with that phrase, I can try again. That in itself is ear training. It's the best ear training you're ever gonna get, actually. Well, for me it was. My ears, they started growing. No, just kidding. My ears, or my ability to use my ears for musical purposes skyrocketed when I realized that, you know, if you can think in terms of melodies, that's like the most basic building block there is in harmony. So if you have a chord progression, so in other words, from one chord to the other, what is actually happening is a melodic movement from the first chord to the next chord. But since the chord consists of usually 3 notes or more, you actually get several melodic movements in parallel. So if you learn to recognize melodic movements just by trying to play a melody, then that's gonna boost your ability to not only work with melodies, but also with chords and chord progressions and so on and so forth. Mina has huge ears. That's awesome, man. Cool. We have like the first comment ever on Twitch. Aidan, you're too kind. Just because you're asking from Twitch, I can actually play the riff of Master Puppets, but I'm really bad at it. Just like, oh. And it's like, I don't know. So, first comment ever from Twitch. So thank you, Aidan. I'm very honored. I don't have any followers on Twitch, so I'm not sure how you found me there, but it's very flattering. Do you use an Ibanez guitar? Yes, I have 2 Ibanez guitars. Can I explain arpeggios? Ooh. I love arpeggios. Arpeggios are cool. But how do you explain them? Let's start by playing some arpeggios, and I'm going to weave them in with melody, and that's how I like to use them. Too many arpeggios there. Sounds better. What I did there was just every arpeggio I could think of, right? So. But I think arpeggios sound better if you, you know, maybe like weave them in. Like in some like normal playing. So if you have like a blues lick, you can play that, and then play an arpeggio, and then keep on bending. So. And of course, if you're in a shreddy contest, then just keep playing the arpeggio. You know, like but a little bit too much for me. Hello, Master Gene T. Thank you, man. Ooh, I'm so fucking cool. Thank you, Mesh. But how can I explain arpeggios? Arpeggios are chords, right? So if you want to play the easy way, this is an arpeggio. Bit out of tune, but that's an E minor chord, and I arpeggiated it. So when I play the E minor chord, I'm actually just playing 3 notes that repeat. So if you're like, hold it, Chris, I'm playing 6 strings. You said 3 notes. But yes, the notes repeat. So 3 notes, 6 strings. But those 3 notes can be played freaking anywhere. So let's try that. Instead of doing this, whatever I could do, it's the same 3 notes. Okay, I added 1 note there, but here, that's 3 notes. Same as, or, so playing arpeggios is just a matter of finding ways to play those 3 notes that are in the chord, right? So some people get really frightened by a long scale diagram with lots of dots. It's like, oh, that arpeggio seems so difficult. No, it doesn't have to be. Sure, if you're gonna learn all the dots and you feel you have to play all the dots, then yeah, it would be difficult for anyone. But if you instead think of it as, those are 3 notes, how can I find a way that works for me to play these notes? And if you do that, you're quickly going to realize that there are lots of simpler ways to play arpeggios, right? I could just do, that's an arpeggio. I can repeat that in the next octave. Or I can do, so I don't have to do, you know, that's tempting, but this is also an arpeggio. I can move different arpeggios around that still only use 2 strings. So it's a little fancier, but it's still not quite as difficult. So there I was playing the diatonic arpeggios to E minor. So in other words, the arpeggios that are in the key of E minor. So in other words, the arpeggios of the chords that are in E minor. And we have like 7 3-note chords in E minor. So yeah, I'm just to try to make it feel less daunting, you know. And I missed a million comments, I think, on Instagram here. Let's see what you guys are saying. Sir, please play Nothing Else Matters. Don't remember it. How to be with economy picking? Cool question. Okay, so let's speak about economy picking then. I'm gonna play a little bit. Ooh, we had someone from Germany. Wie geht's? Ich bin ein gute Leute. Sorry, my German is horrible. It's Fat Man the Original is from Germany. Sorry, I missed your comments earlier on. Okay, let's do something else. It's a D minor. So, let's do some economy picking and then we can speak about it. Grüße aus Deutschland. We have more German people here. That's great. So that's a bit of economy picking. If I try to do regular picking, let's see if you can see a difference. I'm going to break it down, but so I like the sound of regular picking, but economy picking is sometimes easier to play faster with. So economy picking is going to be where you play 1, 2, 3, and then when you move to the next string, you disrupt the continuous picking pattern to allow for a smoother transition. So you're basically kind of sweeping in between the strings. So down, up, down, down. That's it. And then I do that throughout, you know, as I go to the top, and then I do the opposite when I go down. So it's always, you know, down, up, down. Okay. Down. No, sorry. Down, up, down, up, down, up, up. There we have it. 2 ups in a row there. It's a little... Now, if I get to choose, I'm going to be doing a mix of all of those. But I'm trying to do strict economy picking. That was strict economy picking, but let's see if I can go down. I think I'm struggling with that. It's a little bit messy there. So I guess I should practice that. I think what I usually do is I throw in more alternate picking somewhere in there. So my hand is not used to doing only economy picking the whole way, you know. I might do a little bit of economy picking and then, you know. That's economy picking. That's better. That's how I would do it. So if I get to choose, I think that sounds better. That's a mix of everything in there. It's not strict alternate picking. is there's a whole bunch of legato and a little bit of economy picking, and also some like hammer rolls from nowhere. So, you know, anything to get around the scale, you know, without any interruptions. So denim chicken, this is called economy picking. Mr. Scary, George Lynch. Yeah, George Lynch does a bit of this, if I'm not mistaken. Bending out of pitch. Okay, that's a good question, Marcus. How do you bend without going, you know, how do you bend to the right pitch? And the answer is, of course, practicing with a reference pitch. So if I'm playing in E minor, or whatever the key is, I might have a target note here. So I'm going to bend up to that. So just play a note that you know works, and then bend up to it. And if you do that, and it sounds like this, you're out of pitch. One more time. That's where you want it to be. Not. So I can do that throughout, you know. I can do it. And do it with all fingers, so practice with the index finger as well. Here's my reference pitch. Not that good. Whoops. Turns out I need to practice this. Maybe pinky. Not spot on. Thank you for loving my playing, Cozy. How can you play like me? That's a very flattering question. The answer is, you can play like me, but do you even want to play like me when you can play like you? That's the whole point, right? I'm trying to play like me, and sure I can be inspired by others, but trying to play like them isn't worth that much, because I can never be better than them at playing like them, right? The only one I can be best at is playing like me, and the same goes for you. So you don't want to play like me, but you might want to borrow some stuff from my style, and again, that's very flattering if you want to do that. And of course, the best way is just to hang out here on the app and see all my content. I must have thousands of shorts by now, showing you all the different things I like to do. And also, you're gonna find both like quick examples of just like micro things that happen in my playing, but also these longer spoken videos where I take more time and try to analyze what's going on. So I think that's the best way. Sun and Killer, thank you, John Ortiz. What is this song? So this backing track is called Melodic Prog Metal Backing, and you can find it on my YouTube channel. I have a Chris backing tracks playlist with all my backing tracks, and those are the ones I'm using here. Jandy, new to the stream, welcome, man. Yes, Adri, Malmsteen style. I do quite a bit of Malmsteen style, especially on this guitar, which is a scalloped Strat, so it immediately makes you think of Malmsteen, and so much that I decided to put 08 strings on it and down tune it to E flat. So it's my Yngwie guitar. Your first electric guitar. Ooh, a Squier Telecaster. I think that's a really good choice. I usually recommend like an S-style, a cheap S-style guitar for your first entry-level guitar. I think it's a good choice because you know, it doesn't matter if you're into pop, rock, or even metal. You can just put in one of those single coil sized humbuckers and you get a metal guitar. Maybe not your, you know, down tuning monster 8 strings, you know, but still powerful enough for metal. So, well, I just think an S-style guitar is a good way to start. So it's, you know, it's standardized. It's so easy to swap things onto the pickguard. You know, just try your average cheap S-style. When I say S-style, I mean like, you know, a guitar that looks like this, right? Yeah. So I'm glad you like this. So we should shred some more. There we have it, and I actually turned this one into a GMC lesson. So if you feel like learning this, it's on the GMC website, and I think the first parts are free. But then it costs freaking money. 8 E flat scalp neck, bending chords must be so much easier and satisfying. Bending chords, yeah, I never bend chords, but I guess I could, yes. Let's bend some chords just for the fun of it. It's a good thing. I think it sounds pretty bad. But it's fun though. It's like you do this. Pablo, what do I think of Megadeth? Megadeth is one of my favorite bands. I would say when I started listening to music, it was Metallica. I still love Metallica, but I don't listen quite as much to them. So whenever I listen to kind of that era, it's rather going to be Megadeth, I think. Maybe some Nirvana and Guns N' Roses as well. Zach, that's a cool idea. Maybe I should record some video on bending chords. It's always fun. Sounds totally off though. It would be cool if I could bend all of them to the right pitch. So if I could do this. Should be doable. Ouch. Well, I've heard worse. Ouch, but it's pretty bad though. Oh, I'm almost still in tune. That's great. So right now it seems there's a short I published yesterday that people are kind of excited about, which is this kind of thing. I think, yeah. So if you want to learn that, I posted a video explaining it this morning. It's just some glitch picking like that, right? So I go between 2 arpeggios. Instead of just doing this, which I guess is also okay, but I rest a little bit in between there. So favorite Megadeth song. In case my mind starts to smoke. A sus chord. There's your sus chord. Yeah, glitching with sweeps. Exactly, that's what I was doing. Actually, glitching between the sweeps would be the correct way of describing this, right? So it's C major, like a triad arpeggio, and then glitch, 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 and then D major. So again, oops. You can add the wah-wah, it sounds fun. Yeah, exactly, Zach. Sometimes you want something really ugly, then just bend a chord. That's true. Just Privet, awesome playing. Thank you so much, man. So I'm just scrolling through some Instagram comments. Ooh, Prithvi is also asking about hybrid picking. That's cool, because that's one of my favorite techniques ever. So should we maybe grab another backing track and do some hybrid picking? Slow, heavy groove. See if you can spot what my right hand is doing now. I was doing, at least in the beginning, quite a bit of hybrid picking. So if you look at my right hand, I'm doing this, right? So I'm constantly going between pick and finger. There you have it, hybrid picking. And the key to this is to have a very small picking movements. So whenever I do this, I try to generate the picking movement from the thumb joint. Because if I do this, or like that, then my finger is just going to go all over the place. So it's going to be very hard to have the pick and finger operate independently. So what you got to do is make sure this picking movement is small, and you can do that by, just for practice purposes, anchoring your hand and trying to play. So if I have my fingers anchored like this, it's impossible for me to do a wrist movement, so I'm going to have to learn how to do the thumb joint movement. So that's something you can practice. And once you can do that, you can try adding a finger in the mix as well. Or I skipped one step there, because if you've never played with the finger style, you're gonna have to practice that a little bit as well before you put those two together. So you get, and then let's say you've been practicing using the finger, Then step number 3 is to combine both of those. So you get... So if you look at my right hand, you can see. So if I do it like on, you can see my hand is pretty static. It isn't moving that much. So you're gonna have to, again, make sure you can pick without moving or displacing the whole hand, because if you do that, your finger is also going to be all over the place and it's going to be very hard to hit the right string. Super fluid. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, we all need to practice more for sure. Hello, good to see you after so many days. Thank you, Deban. Good to see you, man. Sanjay from Facebook is asking about sweep picking. That's a cool topic as well. Steinhardt from Instagram, what's up? Prithvi, thank you for asking about that. It's the questions that matter more than the answers, because if there are no questions, we won't have any answers. Thank you, Quinn O'Hamlin. So yeah, I've done a lot of sweep picking in this session as well. We haven't really spoken about that. I've mentioned, you know, the foundation of arpeggios, but a lot of times we as guitarists, we play arpeggios by sweeping. Can you use the pattern? What pattern? Which pattern? What is a pattern? Sorry, man. I'm Swedish. You're gonna have to be patient with me. Is pattern a thing, or did you just miss the N as in pattern? Okay. So that's sweeping, right? That was actually too much sweeping, but it was still sweeping. So how do you sweep? Sometimes sweeping is described as an easy shred technique. I don't agree with that, because the easy part sounds like shit. It is true that most people can learn how to do this in a short amount of time, which is of course good and can be rewarding. But it won't really sound good until your left hand is synced with your right hand, and that takes time, and it actually turns it into a rather difficult technique. Thank you, algorithm. I like it. So if you want to start sweeping, the number one thing to realize is the end result. In order for that to be really, satisfying and rewarding, your hands are going to have to be in sync. And the right hand is not going to be the most difficult part of sweeping. It's going to be the left hand. And when I realized that, I started to only practice the left hand, so I could sweep without any, pick. Now, of course, you can't hold your hand like this unless you're trying to impress some stupid people at a party. Sorry, I was being a bit evil there, but it might look impressive, but it's not usable. What is usable is if you follow the playing with the right hand, so you're muting the non-wanted strings, basically. I'm showing you legato right now, Benny. This is a lot of legato and hammer-ons from nowhere into this. So when I play without my right hand, I still hold my right hand here so that it can follow for each note that I play and mute the unwanted strings. So if you look at my right hand now, hopefully you should see I'm not sweeping, but I am still following. I can like do this. I'm still following, right? So that's the thing that really changed it for me. When I started practicing my left hand extensively, with the arpeggios, then all of a sudden adding that sweep was easy, you know? But before my left hand could play that, it just sounded unsynchronized. Of course, you're gonna have to spend some time synchronizing both. But yeah, so yeah, that's Sanjay, good question about the picking hand. The picking hand is gonna do the actual sweep motion, right? And the thing to understand here is, and some people find it self-explanatory, but I still think it's worth mentioning, you gotta angle your pick the right way. So if I exaggerate this, I'm gonna do on the way down, if I start with the string pick parallel to the string like this, or a 90-degree angle to the guitar body, I'm gonna tilt it forward like that. Right? And then I'm gonna do the opposite for the way down. Don't ever do this for the way up, you know, you're gonna get stuck. Same way on the way down if you do that. So in a way it's self-explanatory, but the reason why it's good to mention is when you see someone play this up to tempo, you do not see the angling even though it's happening. So I showed you the extreme version, but when I play, there you can see it, but you can't always see it as obvious, you know? Sometimes it's really hard to spot that there is this re-angling happening. But it is always happening, and it's important to, you know that as you're practicing this. That's a good question from YouTube, C. Desoteric. What patterns would I focus on? I have an absolute favorite pattern as far as sweeping goes, and it's the major triad pattern. For example, in C major, it would be this one. I use that one a lot. I use it diatonically, so even if I'm like right now, I'm in, I think I'm in F sharp minor now. So even though this is, a minor key, I can still throw in the diatonic major triad arpeggios just because I know my theory. So I can get away with much less patterns if I can move around one within the key. So I would recommend you learn that, like the C major triad arpeggio. I can show it to you right now. On the 15th fret, A string, next string 14, next 12, next 13, next 12, and then 15 on the same string. That's the whole shape. So from the beginning, 15, 14, 12, 13, 12, 15. That's the one I've been shredding with all the time. And then I move it down. So and then of course I can come up with some fun stuff on the top here. So, I could do like try to come up with a melody, or maybe do some blues bending or something. So that would be a more musical way, I think, of using it, as opposed to just doing it and just sticking with the arpeggio for too long. That becomes very shreddy sounding. Zach is asking, is there a particular band or artist that has encouraged you to do the most to develop your skills? Well, when I was starting out, it was a big mix of the usual suspects, Eric Johnson, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Alan Holsworth, Steve Morse, Marty Friedman, Blue Saraceno, Tony McAlpine, Yngwie Malmsteen. All of these influenced me, but I never really For most of them, I never sat down and learned an entire solo or song of theirs. I just stole licks here and there, most of the time from these REH tapes, you know, these instructional tapes where they would show you licks. They were really good because we had no internet, but or our internet didn't contain that stuff. The one we had was very limited. That's what I'm trying to say, although I got completely caught up in another topic. So yes, we didn't have porn either. Internet porn, that is. Sorry, I'm going way out of the scope of this discussion. Anyhow, so I just grabbed these licks from all these players, and then I realized, hey, some of them are impossible to play. What am I doing wrong? And that kind of led me to start investigating, you know, more about technique, you know, and a lot of the stuff I didn't understand until like decades later when we had the internet, when I was able to connect with all these guitarists. And now, of course, it's easier than ever. You just scroll and you get everything explained. But of course, it can be overwhelming today. And that's a good thing. When you started out 30 years ago, you were never overwhelmed by guitar stuff. On the contrary, it was hard to find guitar music, you know, at least, you know, growing up in the 90s, you know, in the 80s, it was a bit easier, but I had to search for the leftovers. Anyhow, but these days, sure, some of the bigger new names like Matteo Assato and I'm really bad at names, but some of these bigger guys are definitely influential. You know, I never sit down and learn like the Polyphia stuff. I don't really listen to it either, but you can't avoid scrolling without seeing that stuff. And it's inspiring to see, you know, the legato and the harmonics and the groove. So I guess I'm inspired, though I don't really actively try to, you know, steal or borrow from someone else these days. That's the difference. I'm probably more inspired by really like a strong song. I get very jealous, like I wish I had written that. And that's inspirational as well. Do you have a bass? Yeah, I have one. The stream is such a treasure. Thanks so much, man. Really glad you think that, Ashke. Carlos, what's up? Pedro. Oh my God, you're crazy. Thank you. So, yeah. So one of the things I've been working on recently, which I found a bit lacking in my playing, is bending control, and more specifically, purposely bending out of tune. And the reason is obvious. I'm still working on bending in tune, so you know that's what I've been focusing on for all these years. But now I start to realize that, hey, it's cool to bend out of tune if you're in control. So you can try that. Wrong key, I think. What's wrong? Let's do another one. Exactly, microtones. For some reason, this backing track didn't do it for me. E minor. Like that, right? And of course, sometimes you go a half step down and it's no longer a microtone, it's just a half step down. It doesn't really matter to me which one it is, as long as you're in control and as long as it sounds cool. So bend up to pitch, try to go a little bit above in a bluesy way. Like, that's bluesy when you reach the pitch and then you slowly drift up. Or to me, that's super bluesy. You would do, maybe in a blues context, you would do that on the minor third. So like that, right? So I did that, but like that at the end. And then the opposite. You can't phrase it as bluesy, it gets more jazzy and progressive. That's cool. Oops. It doesn't work as well for me when practicing with half steps. I need a minimum of a whole step to do that. You can do maybe a bit more. Yeah, returning a sour fourth or a half step bend. Yeah, it's exactly, you're playing with the sourness and trying to make that musical, just like you do with if you're playing like a diminished scale or something that's like outside sounding. What bar chords should I learn next? So Maceo, if you already master one bar chord, like most people struggle with F, right? Because it's such a common chord in like most songs that are in C or A minor. If you can play F, then you should be good to play most common bar chords, bar A chords. So some people want to start practicing add 9 chords. I think it's overkill. I don't think you should think of, what's the next chord. Think about the next song, and that's going to dictate what chords are in it, right? So just think, what song do I want to learn? Sit down with that song, and those are the chords you should be practicing. So that's much better than if I kind of tell you what to do. Sorry. It's like shooting down your question. Your intention was good. I need to learn. Please, will you teach me? I'm here to teach you, Jonathan. That's why I have thousands of shorts here, to teach you, man. Always here. If you have any specific questions, you can also ask now. Think I need a bit of a sugar boost. This is my drug in live streams. Cool, so we have a question about my guitar tone. Maybe I can show you around my floor here. Let's see if I can. Here we go. Right now my guitar is going into a wah-wah pedal. I've been using it a little bit. Currently I don't use this. This is just a foot switch. And then it goes into my extremely messy pedal board here. This is just the switchboard for the amp, so you can disregard this. So the only pedals I'm using now, well, of course, besides the tuner and the noise gate, I'm using the tube screamer right now. That's all I'm using here, not any of the others. This is just a selector, and these are, it's a chorus, overdrive, and 2 compressors, and 2 more overdrives, but I'm not using them right now. So then the signal goes into my Bessa Boogie Mark 5 amp, and I use the overdrive channel. I prefer the Mark 1 voicing here for
you know, a lot of the lead stuff I do. So you can see it maybe here. And then I'm not using the built-in cab. Instead, I use this cab by Harley Benton, which has a greenback speaker in it. And as you can tell, I'm mic'd up with an SM57. Oh, but I'm just using through the phone now, so you can't hear those mics, so it doesn't really matter. After that, or rather, there's also some pedals in the loop, right? So I use the Strymon Big Sky for reverb, and I use this Halo for delay. And that's my signal chain right now. And you're hearing all of that through my phone, basically. That's it. See what you guys are saying. So the amp shows you is a Mesa Boogie Mark V I'm using now. I also have like a tweed amp there, Fender Blues Junior. I use it sometimes, but I would like to get like a black panel, like a Princeton. Oh, I got a bunch of avatars to choose from. Do I like nylon or steel string? Well, for classical or acoustic guitars, I prefer nylon actually. Most time I play like a classical guitar or flamenco guitar. But I would say I'm more skilled or experienced as an electrical guitar player, so that'll be electric or steel strings. Cool, it sounds great, even though it's a phone. Yeah, I think the newer iPhones have a decent microphone, and it's just something with the way the iPhone captures the room. It's what we're used to hearing. So there's an argument to be had that the most natural sounds sometimes come from a phone recording. It's not always the best sounding, but it's great for reference because a lot of people listen on their own videos through that, you know, recorded through that microphone. So yeah, I think it's decent for this kind of stuff for sure. Okay. For both budget friendly and better tone balance, how about changing string? How many months do you prefer? Whew. I mean, totally depends how much I'm playing that specific guitar that needs changing. Since I've started using 08s on this guitar, I've gone from Elixir strings to Ernie Ball, like I think it's, I don't know, something slinky, but it's 08. You know, I have to change them more often, but they sound amazing, so I guess it's worth it. I can't tell you in weeks, because, you know, if I play this guitar for 4 days, I'm going to change strings. But sometimes I just play it for maybe 1 or 2 hours per month, and then they can last for months. It totally depends on how much I'm playing that guitar. So right now, shows you I'm not using an interface, I'm just using my phone. But when I am using, for most of my other videos on this channel, I am using an interface. And I recently upgraded from Duet USB to the RME Babyface Pro FS. RME Babyface Pro FS. And the amazing thing with that interface, I mean, it's a good interface, and it's compatible with my operating system. The Duet USB was horrible. I hated it. Just kept crashing all the time. Good sound, but absolutely horrible driver compatibility, or whatever it is. But however, with this interface, I can also plug in an ADAT interface, which is what I've done. So I also have an Audient ASP800. So that gives me the option to connect all these microphones I showed you. And it really simplifies things for me, aka saves me tons of time, because before I used the Duet USB with an external mixer, just like a small mixer board with like six channels or something. And that was horrible. As soon as I changed setup, it was just horrible. But now I can save a setup digitally and have everything connected all the time to this, so I don't have to go, you know, pull cables and troubleshoot why, you know, it's sounding bad and why it isn't sounding at all. So yeah, a big thing to have a good interface there if you're, you know, running more complex setups. What do you think about the Boss DS1 and DS2? Well, I like Boss. I think they seem to always deliver cool quality. I don't have that much from them, but whatever I've tried has been good, really good. So I haven't tried those classic pedals, DS1 and DS2. I did try them in an old like COS modeler, and that modeler was from like 20 years ago, I think. Yeah, probably around 20. And I wasn't too fond of it, but I'm sure their modeling is better now. I don't know. But I don't really like modelers, so if I were to try those two classics, I would probably buy the pedals, and I hope I will at some point. I just haven't prioritized it. Right now, I think what I might invest in next in terms of sounds for my studio is probably like a small studio Marshall head, like the Origin 20, the head just. And after that, it might be like a Princeton amp. Princeton reverb, like a Fender amp. So the reissue, the 68 reissue is the one I've been looking at. So I don't see myself buying these pedals in the near future, but who knows, maybe sometime. Do you plug your pedals into the interface for the recording? No, I use microphones most of the time. So I'm going to I'll be speaking through a microphone, right? So here I have like the Rode NTG 4 Plus, which is I can't remember the name. What's it called when it's angled? That's gonna come back to me soon. Not a ribbon, shotgun microphone. That's what it's called, I think. And then yeah, I showed you a bunch of microphones. I have the SM57, the classic one. I have a ribbon microphone, fat top, and then I have a reference microphone like the AKG C414, which just catches everything. And I plug all of those into the interface. Sometimes I record directly to the interface. I have the More Radar, which is a pedal, it's a cabinet simulator, so I don't have to use a microphone. I just plug the back of my amplifier, not the speaker output, just as like the slave out, if you have that. Not all amps have that. I have that into the More Radar. That gives me decent sound. I don't think it's anywhere close to the real thing, but it's usable when mixed. So I do that for some of the metal tones when I want a really almost unnatural low end. I have the Kemper here, but I play it less and less now. I used to be a total Kemper freak like 10 years ago. Then I gradually moved to all analog, and now it's just analog. I don't like digital at all. I mean, it's great for recording good sounds. It can do that, but it really cannot do the playability and the feel. It sucks as that. You know, whenever I want to play and be inspired, digital is totally a turn off, you know. Could I run a guitar through a 100-watt tray or bass stage amp? Yeah, I think you could. I'm not sure it would sound good, but I think doing the opposite is maybe a bit more dangerous, like trying to maybe, I don't know, get some really bassy tone through a guitar amp, although I guess that's doable in most cases. You're not going to blow anything, but I guess you could. Guitar into a bass amp, I don't see that as a problem. You know, the Fender Bassman is really designed as a bass amp. I think there are more examples. Good afternoon from the UK. Hey there, Saab man. Are you a fan of the Swedish company Saab? Could I run a guitar? Happy birthday, FC Wade. Hope you're having a good day. Did you went to a music school? No, never. I had 1 year of private tuition. The fantastic Swedish guitarist called, his name is Christian Niemann, and he played for Therion back in the days. For beginners interface or amp, which is good. Well, I did try a super cheap interface on my channel, which is by Sinido. They sent me it for free, so it's like a collaboration thing. But they sent me a new one now. This one, and I'm gonna do a video on it soon. These are really affordable interfaces, but this one seems quite powerful, so I'm looking forward to testing that. There are a bunch of things to choose from now. I'm not the right guy to ask because the only ones I know are the ones that are being sent to me, and they are pretty good. So I would assume that the overall it's getting just better and better. But I think you can probably find a lot of good value just interfaces for recording a mic and a guitar or something like that. Now, a lot of people recommend like the Katana amp. I haven't really tried it, but I've heard so many good things about it. If you have the option of getting the bigger version, that's a good thing, not because you want volume, but because you want the bass. Small speaker cones are generally not that good at generating bass, so I would recommend like a bigger Katana. If you want to hop straight into a tube amp, that's going to cost you more money, although there are, you know, cheaper and cheaper options for that as well. Yeah. So I hope I answered the question about how I record my guitar. Usually it's those 3 microphones I showed you into my interface. But right now you're hearing the guitar through my phone, you know, so. How do I become faster at fretting without touching random strings? Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, right? Precision in the beginning. And precision is usually hurt by trying to quickly learn something. Because when you try to learn something too fast, you don't develop the habit of precisely fretting. You're like more, oh yeah, let's just do it. So the answer is boring, but I have to insist on it. You really have to let progress come naturally. You cannot force it. So you gotta practice slowly, kind of within your range, and let that range grow naturally. Most of us do the opposite. We try to practice outside our range to speed things up, but it has the opposite effect. There's no substitute to putting the time in and really getting the precision right. Thick and sharp picks always great for tone? No, Death Ray. Good question from Instagram there. That's not always the case. For example, you're going to find that in some of my clean tone videos, I actually make a thing out of these bending or these soft picks, and I kind of emphasize that, hey, I use this stuff for clean playing. But for high gain playing, I almost exclusively use picks that do not bend, because I need the response to be instant. Otherwise, it's just, you know, it's not precise enough. No, I haven't dived into extensive range guitars. I've always dreamed of a 5-string guitar, you know. So I think there are now ones to get, but last time I was looking into it, I came to the conclusion that I probably needed to order a custom guitar, and I can't afford that, so I just skipped the idea. I'm not dreaming about more strings, I'm dreaming about less strings. I love being able to, you know, grip comfortably around the neck, so I can get this supernatural way of holding it. I think even a fairly narrow neck, such as a standard Strat, is a little bit too wide, so 5 strings would be cool. I would love 5 strings. Of course, if I just wanted, you know, like Keith Richards, something 5 strings, I could just remove a string. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a neck that is narrower, and the price is to lose 1 string. Sorry about these plings. I thought I had turned this stuff off, but apparently I hadn't. Let's see if I can. I don't even know how I find that. Freaking noise. Work. I mean, I have work on, so why are you making sound? Turn it on. 3. Yeah, Jacob Collier, he also speaks about a 5-string. Yeah, I've seen that.
That could be interesting because he's a fantastic player, and I've seen him do, both his amazing, tunes, but also some pretty advanced playing. So I bet that guitar is pretty playable. Death Ray is asking, I struggle with left-hand thumb positions. Can practically show that fix. Left-hand thumb positions. So I understood the beginning of the question, but not the end. But I think that's going to be enough because I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but I prefer this natural grip. So in other words, the thumb up here. It's not the most important part is it's more relaxed, so I don't get strained as quickly. But also it's beneficial for bending because you get that leverage point with the thumb. Sometimes you want to go stretchy and then you're gonna have to move the thumb down like this. So I hate this posture because it's really unnatural, and if I do practice like that for too long, I start to feel strained. It's not good. But I do alternate between the two, and that's like my main thing for lead playing. I constantly alternate between the thumb on the top and then kind of dropping it and everywhere in between. But if I were to give you a general recommendation, it would be to try to constantly slide the thumb back, because I think that's the natural way to do it. And for a lot of times when you're just looking to play a melody, a simple lick, or some bending, or some vibrato, this is the better way to do it. It's only when you need to start reaching things that you're going to stray from that into a classical posture. Again, I just feel pain just thinking about it. I hate this. But it's the only way you can play that, right? I cannot do that if my thumb is up here. And because I like the sound of that, I'm still struggling and trying to do that. But yeah, I'd much rather always have my thumb up here. I prefer that. How can I record and play back my own backing tracks? Well, you need an interface, probably. You need an interface. Do you have a computer? You're probably going to need a computer as well. But if you have a computer, then you need an interface. And there are cheap audio interfaces that are pretty good. Maybe someone can fill me out there. You don't have to spend the big bucks to start doing that. But you need something that can both take your guitar signal into the computer and which can take the audio you've recorded out. And you need to do that without too much latency and stuff like that. You need to be able to have a certain amount of control so you can mute the stuff you just recorded, or yeah, maybe disregard the last bit. But you're gonna need an audio interface. That's my answer. I always get confused trying to explain this stuff because I never do it. It's just something I do myself, but I've never explained it. Whatever. 1 hour and 30 minutes. That's not too bad. No wonder my brain is slowing down. So it's been a fun session. We had lots of good conversations, cool topics, and thank you so much for all these, for all these comments. Without them, these live streams would suck. So I'm very grateful you stopped by and you wanted to interact a little bit with us here. I'm gonna have to end this session, but I will be uploading more content, hopefully, maybe not more than ever, but I hope better than ever. We'll see about that, but that's what I'm aiming for. And also do these live streams more often because they're just too much fun not to. Okay, guys, so the moment has come. One final lick. Have a good one. See ya. Cheers.